Welcome to Rumbling of a Madman. In this episode, I want to talk about the people in uniform. With the current issues that happened, especially in United States, people in police uniform has come under severe criticism for their action, which as a society we cannot blame. Every action has a opposite and equal reaction. But the question that we have to ask is that do we even consider the importance of a uniform as a society? It has become such a day-to-day thing that we don't think, even if we are to join a, a job, a service that uses a uniform, we don't think much about what the uniform represents. And I think for most problems that there are in the world, abuse of power and so on, is because of this reason. Whenever a service or a job needs a uniform, that means there is a set of special responsibilities that is there, that comes with that package. This is what the uniform represents. Let's take an airplane pilot for example. The pilot is responsible for the flight, is responsible for every soul that is traveling in that flight. That is not a easy task, that is not a easy responsibility. Whatever happens when the flight is airborne, it is the responsibility of the pilot himself for handling everything from technical issues to every individual passenger themselves. So that means the uniform that they wear comes with this responsibility. They wear a uniform for other people to recognize that the responsibility that is there when the flight is airborne is with this person. And this is same when coming into doctors, when coming into nurses, when coming into military personnel, when coming into the police, when coming into even the bus conductor. Every person has a specific responsibility. The uniform is a representation of this particular responsibility. Though interiorly inside the, let's say inside the armed forces, the uniform will represent a lot more. The insignias will give out whether you are an officer or not, the responsibilities you have, the seniority you have. But for the outside society, the civilian, it it is solely there to show them that here is a person who has a special responsibility in the society. Unlike other jobs, this special responsibility may involve life and death situation. A fireman, his or her service is to put their lives in the line to save civilians from fires, to protect property, to protect human lives. But this comes at the risk of their own lives. Many heroic stories come into mind, but this is the responsibility that is there for a fireman, and it is shown that show the society that here is a person who bears that responsibility. There's a uniform for that. The society will respect that uniform and respect that person because of the uniform, because the society would know the responsibility and the amount of hardship that this job represents. And they believe that there should be gratitude, respect for what they do. This is same for doctors, this is same for pilots, this is same for or, people in the army, air force, navy, or any other. And here comes the situation at the moment for the police, where there the respect for the police is slowly going down, because maybe action of a few people, the whole idea of the police, the uniform itself, the value of it is going down. This is not a thing that is this is not an isolated thing for United States. These stories are heard around the world in different countries, and in some countries is this news doesn't even come out because of obvious reasons, but this is what it is. The uniform that a policeman wears tells us a story of a person who gives puts put their life in the line of protecting the rights of the society. This is what it's supposed to mean, but this meaning is diminished by actions of few people, or the way that the authorities above them, senior authorities, politicians, or senior police people, how they mobilize these um, po- police to crush demonstrations or inflict pain on the society. So it seems like in this case, the police or the authorities who are wearing the uniforms have forgotten the responsibilities that is represented by the uniform itself. This is not a good thing. The police is the bridge between a civilized society and the authority of law. And when this breaks down, a lot of societies go in a wrong path. Again, we can say that the people who are wearing these uniforms maybe is not um, informed or or know about the proper reason for that uniform, the responsibility that comes with that uniform. Maybe along the way they have forgotten what is the actual meaning of a uniform. Maybe that is why the police are acting as such. Same thing comes to a lot of other uniforms as well. At this moment, 2020, this year of the pandemic situation, we can put our hands together and bow down for the another set of people who are wearing uniforms. These are doctors, nurses, and healthcare officials. They have put themselves on the line of duty and performed really well, which the whole world is at the moment praising for the work they have done. Well, this actually shows the two sides of the about the responsibilities that a uniform brings, isn't it? I think this is the perfect example. While the police have failed to carry out their duties, is their responsibilities properly, the uniformed arm of the health service, the health sector, uh, the doctors, the nurses, the medical personnel, from ambulance drivers as to everybody, uh, have done their duties, their responsibilities immensely well. So this is what I'm trying to get on. I'm trying to ramble about that particular point, that uniforms, jobs with uniforms, services with uniforms comes with a certain degree of responsibility. And if you are to go into work wearing a uniform, you have to understand whether you like it or not. You have to bear that responsibility. That is the main reason you wear a uniform. The example is right there in front of our faces, because United States is open in their giving out of information. We can properly see with the current technology we have what went wrong and what went right. The the policemen who are responsible for the society, the safety of the society, safety of people who are innocent, uh, actually abused their power, and the actions that were taken cannot be justified for any reason at all. While the health sector, people who are working in the health sector risk their lives, risk their livelihoods, their families and everything, in just to do their duties properly. And and this is what the main purpose of every uniformed person is. There is an element there when you're wearing a uniform that you have to make some sort of a sacrifice. It is not just a job. So when you are going into such a job which uniforms are being wear, if you're going to the army, if you're going to the navy, the air force, or you're going to the police, the element of risk for your life is definitely there, whether you like it or not. You cannot just wear the uniform because you need a salary, because you need money. You cannot just wear a uniform because you hate some different set of group. You you cannot basically abuse the power. The person who's wearing a uniform have to be a person who is responsible and are willing to put those responsibilities above his or her own life. This is the thing that is being represented by the uniform for the society. And of course, in a country where their guns are legal, police actually faces a lot of problems, a lot of resistance from the people who are disobeying the law, who's going against the law, rather than countries which have no legal gun rights for the civilians. So this is one of the problems. And as you can see, the amount of instruments, the tools there are for the American police disposal, you can see that they have the amount of difficulties that they are facing. But again, and that doesn't justify the risk that they are taking, because wearing that uniform means that you are a person who is willing to take that risk to do your duties. If you are joining a military force or the police or some kind of a force, was to basically to take revenge of another group, that is not for you. If you are joining in a pers- a uniformed occupation and just to earn money, that is not for you. You're not belong to that occupation. You are not worthy of that uniform. Because every uniform comes with that particular responsibility. If you think of in this pandemic situation, if the doctors and nurses started giving up of their responsibilities, saying that their lives are in risk, and they just started walking away, what would happen? And that is the, the thing that is important to stress out. That nurse's uniform, that doctor's cloak means something, and the responsibility that comes with it. The society respects, the society must and have to respect the meaning of that uniform. But it is responsible, and there's the responsibility of the people who are wearing that uniform to protect the dignity of that uniform. And this is the case that for the incidents that happened in United States. It's not happening because of one particular incident. It's a chain of incidents boiling over were to and making an impression. The the respect for the police is moving away, and the way that the police can gain back the respect would be doing their duties properly and standing to guard the society, the people, and not to go against them. Authorities must stress the responsibilities that police would have. Wearing that uniform means that you don't have a fair game, you don't have a fair playing field. That is the responsibility that comes with the people who are dealing drugs. The people who are going against the law will have the ability to shoot, will have the ability, because they are going against the law. But when you are the police, you have to protect the law by being inside the law. That is the responsibility that they have, and it is a difficult thing, it is a life threatening thing. It will affect your life personally, it will affect your family and your loved ones. And this is the same for every human being that is wearing a uniform around the world. And it's not easy. Mistakes happen sometimes. When it becomes not a mistake, the problems occur. So a uniform is a thing that demands respect, but only respect can be only earned, not bought. So it is a complicated situation, that but the main part I want to stress out is that wearing a uniform means that you are putting responsibilities above yourself. If you are a person who's not working with a uniform, you will understand that the responsibilities you have are a little bit less and flexible. You don't need to risk your life to do your job. Of course, if you're a agent working undercover, well, that's another story for another time maybe. But you get the gist out of this. It is that there are responsibilities that comes with the uniform that you or the person that you see is wearing, and it is important to maintain that responsibility properly. And we have to understand defunding the police and these things. When we hear these is things that uh, making uniformed people irrelevant, the society has fallen into a dark place. And the answer there is not with the society itself, it is with the people who are in charge of the police. Think of the responsibilities that they are with the officers in the army. How many military coups you hear? At least the past 10 years there were a couple of things happening, and the countries that went through these military coups, uh, the outcome was not that bright. The- and this is when people in uniform stepped over their boundaries. There are boundaries, and there are boundaries to protect. Wearing that uniform means responsibility. A military person wearing that uniform will have access to weapons, have access to power. That doesn't mean that they can abuse it, but it is up to the self discipline of that individual to protect that. And when it doesn't happen, military coups happen. Police started using in extra force, and deaths happen. So what I'm getting at here is that when you are wearing a uniform, again, the rest, you have to know if you are taking part in a job just because you need money, you have to find another job. Because when you are wearing that uniform, you have a responsibility. If you hate people, if you are a racist, or if you are joining the army just to go and kill people abroad, or against another group of people, or if you're joining the police just to go against a group of people out of pure hatred, that is not the meaning of the uniform. You are not eligible to wear that uniform, and mechanisms should be in place of this, because these are the people who will make the mistakes in the future, that will put stains on these pristine uniforms. Examples are there around the world. Things have become so normal in the world that I think these mm, uh, occupations that wear uniforms have taken their own paths, their own way of life, it seems. Maybe that is the reason, because I think they have to look back into their roots and see why we wear this uniform, why the firemen wear this uniform, why the military wear this uniform, why the doctors wear this uniform, why the lawyers wear this uniform. It's to serve and protect the society in whole. It's to make a society a better place, to protect them, and to make it a fearless place to live. And maybe because of the harshness of the duties that are there, maybe these uh, teachings inside these institutions where they wear uniforms have changed, and they have forgotten their roots. But it seems now they have to look back, and it seems that people who are joining, who are willing to wear these uniforms, have to be people of dignity, self discipline, and education. Will be able to know what is the right and wrong, if and would have a certain set of qualities that will serve the society well. If 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 this is the discipline, that is the word I was looking for. The discipline should be there with each individual who is wearing that uniform to carry out the responsibilities that they have. At the moment when the COVID hits, most of the doctors around the world had the discipline to carry out their responsibilities, whether putting their lives at risk or working day and night without caring about themselves or their pockets, just solely doing their duties out of the pure discipline that they have, and they earn the respect of the society for that. And the police worked in the other way. The example is United States, and today it is chaos in the society itself. Though there are many other reasons, this is one of it. And if a policeman is listening to this and saying, these streets out there, it is harsh, it is not easy, my life is in danger, I have a family, I have children, I have to feed them, I have to protect them as well, that is true. But the uniform comes with these responsibilities, and you have to have the discipline to tackle each and every problem correctly. The uniform says wearing that uniform means that you are a person of responsibility, and you have accepted it, and you have to work through the guidelines. You cannot or, or go away from that guidelines and look at everybody as an enemy. If you go, if you are a person who's working for the army, you can't think of everybody else who's not wearing in your uniform is an enemy. That is not how things work. When that happens, that is when fall of nations happen, coups take over, and death just reigns over countries. We have seen this happen. And in democratic countries, it is really important that people who are wearing uniforms know their responsibilities when the time comes. And I think I must stress that when I'm talking about uniforms, and the responsibilities that they have, and the people must put these responsibilities, the people who are wearing in these uniforms, they have to have the self discipline to put these responsibilities above their own lives. This is a trait that comes up with it. When I say that, uh, I stress that in different countries the situations are different, and these actually affect it immensely. For example, uh, again I will go to United States because there is so much news, so much information. It is easy to take an example and make a conclusion out of the information that we have from United States. And we have to be thankful of the democratic system to providing this information. Now, in United States, you can see the doctors, the nurses were willing to take on their responsibilities, but because of actions of the government itself, life is hard for them. And maybe the maybe they cannot do their responsibilities properly because of administration issues from governments, from the government on top to bottom. Their administration is same societal problem is there for the police as well, because time and time again, in a country where there is easy access to weapons, automatic weapons, police faces a very hard life. And you every time when you take it from the police side, every time you have to respond to something which is when they respond to something, it is always a bad scenario. Their job is consistent with it. So inside the police itself, it is naturally they have turned against the society because of the things that they face. But it is important for them to always remember the responsibilities that they have, and the uniform they wear, the weight of the uniform that they wear. But of course, this now for another example would be the deployment of the National Guard and the police in when protesting, and these are events that the uniformed people are doing their duties according to the instructions that were given by the higher authorities, the governments, and the administration. So at this moment we cannot say they are going against the people, because they are just carrying out orders. And that means the wrongdoing is not with the police, it's not with the home guard, it is with the people who are deploying them, the administration who's giving instructions for them. The breaking of the discipline would be if they are not following the orders. So we have to understand that part of it as well. But in this episode, I was not too keen to look into that side of the issue. I just wanted to ramble on about this part where, if you are going for a job, if you are looking for a job, if you want to go to a job where a uniform is worn, you have to be ready to properly take on the responsibilities you have. And I think that is very important. You have to have the self discipline to carry out the responsibilities properly. Well, that is the mad ramble for today. Thank you very much for listening for Rambling of a Madman. See you in the next episode. Be safe, be healthy. Ayubowan.